From misty mountain hollows to dense forests where the light barely breaks through, the Appalachian region hides more than just moonshine stills and old folklore. It's a place where shadows take shape, footsteps follow you on lonely trails, and strange eyes gleam in the dark. In this video, you'll come face to face with the red-eyed terror of Point Pleasant, the Mothman, the lurking, axe-wielding menace known as Goatman, the hulking, foul-smelling Sheepsquatch, the winged and bloodthirsty Snallygaster, and the unnerving, not-quite-right figure of the knot deer, along with many more creatures that stalk the Appalachian wilds. Some of these legends come from Native American traditions, others from settlers' campfire tales, and some from real encounters that witnesses still swear were true. If you're watching on a TV, give this video a thumbs up to help more people discover these stories. If you're on your phone or computer, tell me in the comments which Appalachian cryptid you think is the most terrifying, or which one you'd want to meet face to face, if you dared. Allegewi is a creature said to live in the Allegheny Mountains, which stretch through parts of the US and Canada. Described as a giant, it's known for eating humans, showing signs of high intelligence, and even using tools and basic clothing. Some stories say it hunts for fun rather than food, acting a lot like chimpanzees that play with their prey by catching and releasing it over and over. Others describe it as looking like a huge lizard man. People say these creatures live in caves high up in the mountains and prefer to hunt rather than scavenge. The Allegewi are believed to be connected to the ancient Adena tribe, who were some of the tallest Native Americans ever recorded. These people stood out because of their strong jawlines and large skulls. Reports claim they were incredibly strong, well-fed, and measured anywhere from 15 to 25 feet tall. The Appalachian Chupacabra was first reported in the 1900s, though some believe it made its way to the region from Puerto Rico in the 1800s. Most of the sightings have happened in West Virginia. Hunters, hikers, and trappers have found deer bodies drained of blood with clear fang marks on their necks. Some witnesses say they've come face to face with it and claim there's more than one, possibly a whole pack. This creature stands about 4 feet tall at the shoulder and has a long body. It's covered in spikes along its back, likely for protection. Its face is broad like a pig's snout with large fangs, and its feet have 3 large toes ending in talons that look like an oversized hawk's. The Appalachian Chupacabra was featured in an episode of Mountain Monsters. It only appeared during the Bigfoot edition because the team ran into Bigfoot while tracking it. According to the Ames team, Bigfoot might be using these creatures the same way a hunter uses dogs during a hunt. One member, Buck, had a direct run-in when one jumped into the back of their vehicle. They nearly trapped the creatures, but Bigfoot broke part of the trap after hearing their distress calls, giving them a chance to escape. The Braxton County Monster, sometimes linked with the Flatwoods Monster, is a bipedal creature covered in hair, reported in West Virginia. One of the lesser-known sightings happened late on the night of December 30th, 1960. Charles Stover, a 25-year-old bakery delivery driver, was heading home around 11 p.m. when he saw something unusual near Hickory Flats. As he came around a bend, he spotted a creature standing upright, about 6 feet tall, with hair covering its entire body and face. He pulled over briefly to get a better look. The creature stared at him before letting out a roar and running off. Stover was so shaken that he drove straight to a nearby restaurant and gas station, where he told people what he'd seen. His story got their attention, especially since strange screams had already been reported in the area over the past few weeks. Some thought this could be their chance to find out what was making the noise. A group grabbed their guns and went to check the area. They didn't see the creature, but they did find disturbed rocks and marks on the frozen ground. The next day, Stover's wife, convinced that he had truly experienced something frightening, shared his story with the local newspaper. The Tennessee ghost dog is a phantom-like creature said to roam the hills of eastern Tennessee. Described as a large, pitch-black canine with glowing eyes, it's often remembered for its aggressive behavior. Locals have passed stories down for generations about run-ins with this terrifying animal, which has become a fixed part of the region's folklore. There's no clear record of when sightings began, but reports over the years follow a consistent pattern. Witnesses describe a black dog that growls, barks, and sometimes even lunges or bites before vanishing. Unlike many ghost stories that rely on visual sightings alone, some residents claim to hear its barking late at night, echoing around their homes with no clear source. The ghost dog drew wider attention when YouTuber Bill Channel featured it in a real or fake video. While visiting a Tennessee family, they explored nearby woods and found 3 old wooden dog houses near a large pit, which some believe was used for dog fighting. This led to speculation that the ghost dog might be the spirit of a mistreated or killed fighting dog. Some believe it's back to haunt the area, either as a restless spirit or something darker and more malevolent. While the idea of a vengeful ghost dog fits well within regional legends, its true origin remains unknown. Whether it's the lingering spirit of past cruelty or something stranger, the Tennessee ghost dog continues to unsettle those who claim to encounter it. The Cumberland Dragon, also called Goosefoot, is a strange and rarely reported creature said to have appeared once near the Cumberland Mountains. The only known account comes from a short article printed in the Caledonian Mercury on December 4, 1794. According to the report, back in February of that year, a group of mounted infantry led by Captain John Beard was moving through the Cumberland Mountain area. While scouting ahead on Cover Creek, Ensign MacDonald and another soldier came across something odd only a few steps away. The creature stood upright on 2 legs, covered in black, brown, and yellow scales, arranged in ring-like patterns. It had a white tuft on its head, stood about 4 feet tall, had a head the size of a 2-pound rock, and eyes that glowed red. The creature stood its ground for about 3 minutes, as if daring them to come closer. Because they'd been ordered not to shoot, unless it was at enemy forces, MacDonald chose to attack it with his sword instead. As he approached, the creature leapt about 8 feet into the air, landed in the same spot, and then spit out a red liquid that looked like blood. After that, it turned and slipped into a nearby thicket, stopping and turning several times as if ready to attack again. The creature's tracks looked like oversized goose prints. Local Native Americans had stories about a beast in that region with a deadly breath, saying that anyone who came into contact with it had to jump into water right away or risk dying. The Yahoo, also called the Yahoo, is one of the better-known Bigfoot-like creatures in West Virginia. Its name comes from the distinct, echoing cry it lets out, an eerie, drawn-out Yahoo that some witnesses say can be heard from miles away. This creature has been featured on Mountain Monsters, particularly in the episodes Yahoo of Nicholas County and Bigfoot of Clay County, where teams investigated encounters and tracked strange activity in the woods. Local stories say the Yahoo isn't shy about getting close to human settlements. It's known for raiding gardens and even stealing pigs, making it more than just a shadowy forest legend. Some southern folklore even suggests that Daniel Boone himself had a run-in with something resembling a Yahoo, possibly encountering a whole group of them during his frontier travels. The Yahoo is described as standing around 8 feet tall, covered in thick jet black hair, and giving off a scream that's unmistakably loud and unsettling. Some reports claim that more than one of these creatures roams the Appalachian region, and in one case, a trail cam supposedly captured an image of a female Yahoo carrying a baby on her back. This was featured in the Clay County episode of Mountain Monsters. Much like other Bigfoot types, the Yahoo is thought to be highly intelligent and capable of working with others of its kind. Witnesses have reported them acting in coordinated ways, and in more aggressive moments, they've been said to throw small trees at intruders, especially when threatened or being pursued. The Whirling Whimpus, or Turbinuchissus nebuloides, is a strange and deadly creature said to haunt the forests of North America, blamed for the mysterious vanishings of lumberjacks over the years. This beast is often described as being around 7 feet tall, gorilla-like in build, but with some unusual features that make it stand out even among other wild legends. What makes the Whimpus so dangerous is its method of hunting. It waits quietly, often around trail bends, and as its target gets close, it begins spinning on one foot, sometimes said to be a hoof. It spins so fast, about 2,150 rotations per minute, that it becomes nearly invisible. As it whirls, the motion produces a low, eerie hum that seems to come from the treetops. The sound causes anyone nearby to look up, and while they're distracted, the Whimpus strikes without hesitation. The creature's diet includes just about anything: people, turkeys, cows, deer, and even bears. Ironically, bears are also one of its few threats, as some claim bears enjoy the taste of Whimpus when paired with red wine. Physically, the Whimpus has a bulky black body, sparse fur, and sometimes is said to have horse-like legs ending in hooves. In the 2015 Fearsome Creatures entry, it's depicted even more bizarrely: a horned gorilla with one hoofed leg, muscular upper body, large hands, a long, pimply tongue, and a bare chest with a six-pack. Its deadly spinning trick is usually seen at sundown, making twilight in the woods an especially dangerous time for anyone unlucky enough to cross its path. On September 25, 2001, a 19-year-old driving along Pennsylvania's Route 119 heard a strange sound above his car, which he later described as sounding like flags flapping in a thunderstorm. When he looked up, he saw something astonishing: a massive bird-like creature with a wingspan estimated to be 10 to 15 feet and an elongated head flying above him. In the following months, 2 more sightings of similar creatures were reported in Greenville and Erie County, Pennsylvania. Witnesses described creatures that closely resembled pterosaurs, prehistoric flying reptiles believed to have gone extinct 66 million years ago. These reports were strikingly similar to sightings from Texas in 1976 and 1982, which occurred near the area where the fossil of Quetzalcoatlus northrope, one of the largest known pterosaurs, was discovered. Quetzalcoatlus, named after the Mesoamerican feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl, was a member of the Allegewi family, known for their long, stiffened necks and toothless beaks. When first discovered, its wingspan was estimated to be as large as 52 feet, although later studies adjusted the estimate to 36 to 39 feet, still making it one of the largest flying animals of all time. These pterosaur sightings seem to happen in waves and in clusters, leading some to wonder if people are genuinely seeing something. One possible explanation is the frigate bird, which has a wingspan of up to 8 feet and gray feathers that can look like leathery skin from a distance. Frigate birds are known for soaring at great heights for long periods, which could easily be mistaken for something more prehistoric. In Columbia, Pennsylvania, there's a long-standing legend about a creature called the Albatwitch. This small, man-like being is said to stand around 4 feet tall and was believed to live in the wooded areas around Chickies Rock, a forested bluff near the Susquehanna River. Reports of Albatwitches also pop up along other parts of the river's shoreline. The name Albatwitch comes from the creature's odd habit of stealing apples. It's a shortened version of apple snitch. According to local stories, these little beings would sneak apples from people having picnics, sometimes even throwing the fruit back at them. They were known to perch in trees and only come down to look for food. Legends claim the Albatwitch population began to disappear or was driven close to extinction by the end of the 1800s. But Chickies Rock itself still has a reputation for strange happenings. In the 1950s, and again in the 1970s, people reported seeing man-like figures in the woods, and others heard loud cracking sounds at night that resembled a whip. While it's unclear whether these experiences are connected to the Albatwitch, Bigfoot-like sightings have occurred in the same area. In 1973, a report came from Lancaster, just about 10 miles east of Columbia, describing a hairy humanoid. That same year, there was another report from North Anvil, roughly 20 miles north. Neighboring York County has had similar stories too. Some believe the roots of the Albatwitch legend may even stretch back to the Susquehannocks, the Native American tribe once living in the area. They were known to depict ape-like creatures on their war shields. Interestingly, archaeologists have found remains of a Susquehannock village and burial sites right at the base of Chickies Rock. In 2012, a surprising report came out of northern Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania. A 5-foot alligator was spotted swimming in the Beaver Run Reservoir. Workers from the Municipal Authority of Westmoreland County first saw it about a month before the news broke. It became known locally as the Beast of Beaver Run. The creature was seen in the water with only part of its body visible and sometimes sunning itself on the shore. Though the reservoir is closed to the public, its status as a drinking water source for over 125,000 people made the sighting even more attention-grabbing. Officials didn't believe the gator posed a threat to the public, as it wasn't near homes or accessible to people. They figured someone had abandoned it there after keeping it as a pet. The Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission said it wouldn't survive the region's cold winter, and the authority didn't plan on doing anything to remove it. But the winter of 2012 turned out to be unusually mild. The average temperature was higher than normal, leading some experts to think the alligator might have made it through. This stirred more public interest, especially after a Facebook group started advocating for its rescue. Eventually, zoo workers were given access to the area to try and capture it and send it to a Florida sanctuary, but every attempt failed. Some say the creature was 5 feet long, though zoo staff pointed out people tend to overestimate size. Over time, no more sightings were confirmed. Authority employees continued to monitor the area, but nothing new turned up. Some locals still believe the gator might be out there, while others think it didn't survive. Either way, the Beaver Run alligator has become part of the area's local stories, something like their own version of the Loch Ness Monster. In American folklore, the Snallygaster is a legendary creature that combines bird and reptile features, stemming from the superstitions of early German immigrants and sensationalistic newspaper reports. The origins of the Snallygaster date back to the 18th century when German settlers began arriving in Maryland. They spoke of a monster called the Schneller Geist, or Quick Ghost, which terrorized the community. Early descriptions of the creature depicted it as a half-reptile, half-bird chimera with a metallic beak lined with razor-sharp teeth and occasionally possessing octopus-like tentacles. This creature was said to swoop silently from the sky to snatch its victims, and early accounts claimed it would suck the blood of those it captured. Locals believed that seven-pointed stars could ward off the Snallygaster, and remnants of this folklore can still be seen today in painted stars on barns. In the 19th century, the legend experienced a resurgence, possibly as a means to frighten freed slaves. The 20th century brought a wave of publicity for the creature. In February and March of 1909, newspaper accounts detailed encounters with a beast described as having enormous wings, a long pointed bill, and claws likened to steel hooks. This creature allegedly screeched like a locomotive whistle, and the Smithsonian Institution even offered a reward for its hide. Rumor had it that President Theodore Roosevelt considered postponing an African safari to hunt the beast. However, these reports were ultimately revealed to be part of a hoax orchestrated by George C. Roderick, editor of the Middletown Valley Register, and reporter Ralph S. Wolfe, who aimed to boost readership by creating sensational stories that borrowed from existing German folklore and contemporary legends like the Jersey Devil. The Tennessee Red Cheetah is a mysterious feline cryptid said to roam the forests and open fields of Tennessee. With a body shape similar to the African cheetah, this elusive creature stands out due to its vivid red coat, described as resembling the colors of autumn leaves. Witnesses reported having a golden underbelly and black spots or rosettes, closely mimicking the patterning of a traditional cheetah, but with a fiery twist. The animal is said to be sleek and fast, built like a sprinter, with long limbs and a lean frame. Its unusual coloration is what makes it so distinctive, and what has fueled debate over what exactly people are seeing. Some believe it could be a holdover from ancient times, possibly linked to now extinct predators like the American lion, which once roamed North America during the Ice Age. In this theory, the Tennessee Red Cheetah is a relic species that somehow survived, adapting over time to a changing environment. Others believe it might be a genetic anomaly within a wild feline population, perhaps bobcats or mountain lions that developed a rare reddish hue over generations. Mutations in coat color are rare but not unheard of, and if an isolated group passed this trait down, it could explain the unique look reported by witnesses. Skeptics argue that most sightings are probably misidentifications. A bobcat seen at a distance, a large domestic cat with an unusual coat, or even another cryptid like the so-called American hyena could easily be mistaken for something more exotic in poor lighting or from far away. Some also suggest hoaxes or tall tales may be at play. Despite the lack of hard evidence, stories of the Tennessee Red Cheetah continue to circulate. Whether it's a case of mistaken identity, a long-lost species, or something entirely new, it remains one of the more visually striking cryptid legends to come out of the state. The Dewayo is said to be a tall, wolf-like creature that walks on two legs and behaves more like a person than an animal. Most sightings come from the West Middletown and Wolfville areas of Maryland. Witnesses describe it as standing about 6 feet tall, covered in dark fur with a long, bushy tail and using its front limbs like arms. Its appearance is somewhere between a human and a wolf. Legends say the Dewayo is the sworn enemy of the Snallygaster, and the two creatures have supposedly clashed since early settlers first arrived in the Middletown Valley. The creature's roots may come from German folklore brought over by the Pennsylvania Dutch, who told stories of the Hexenwolf, a wolf-like being with similar traits. The first known mention of the Dewayo happened in 1944 in West Middletown, Maryland. People heard frightening screams and found strange tracks. A more detailed account came in 1965 from a man using the name John Becker. He claimed he heard something strange in his yard and went to investigate. A large, hairy creature approached him, stood upright, and attacked. Becker fought back, and the creature eventually ran off. He described it as bear-sized, with long black fur, a wolf-like growl, and a bushy tail. In 1966, a man identified only as Jim A. said he saw the Dewayo near a campground by Gambrel State Park. When he got close, the creature screamed and backed off. He said it looked like a dark brown, shaggy animal the size of a deer, but its legs stuck out oddly, making it walk in a way he called almost spider-like. Another sighting took place in 1976 when two men driving on Route 77 saw something large run across the road in front of them. They described a wolf-like creature with stripes on the lower half of its body. Then, in 1978, two park rangers near Cunningham Falls reported seeing a big, hairy animal running on two legs. The creature's behavior and appearance have remained fairly consistent across sightings, making it one of the more well-known regional legends from Maryland. West Virginia is known for its long list of strange creatures, from the infamous Mothman to the eerie Flatwoods Monster. But one of the most bizarre and least known of them is the Vegetable Man, an entity that sounds more like science fiction than cryptid folklore. Despite its strange name, the story behind it is deeply unsettling. The sighting happened in 1968 near Fairmont, West Virginia. Jennings Frederick, a local man, was out hunting when he heard an odd noise in the woods. He described it as a high-pitched jabbering, like a record playing too fast. Curious, he followed the sound and came face to face with a creature unlike anything he'd ever seen. According to Frederick, the being stood over 7 feet tall. It had a thin, reed-like frame, a humanoid shape, and a plant-like appearance. Its ears were large, and its eyes changed color rapidly between red and yellow. Its arms were long and narrow, with fingers ending in suction cups tipped with sharp thorns. The creature looked sick or weak, and the jabbering noise it made seemed to shift into a kind of telepathic speech. Frederick said he clearly understood the creature's message. "You need not fear me. I wish to communicate. I come as a friend. We know of you all. I come in peace. I wish medical assistance. I need your help." But then, without warning, the creature lunged. It grabbed Frederick with surprising strength and pierced his skin with its thorned fingers, draining blood from his body. All the while, Frederick found himself fixated on the flashing colors in its eyes. Then, just as suddenly as it attacked, the creature let go and sprinted up a nearby hill. Moments later, Frederick reported hearing a deep humming sound from over the ridge, possibly the takeoff of a ship. He believed the being was extraterrestrial. There have been no other verified sightings of the Vegetable Man since that day, but the combination of its odd biology, telepathic communication, and sudden disappearance has led some to wonder if this was not a cryptid at all, but a one-time brush with something alien. The Tennessee Wildman is a legendary creature with roots that trace back to the 1800s in McNairy County, Tennessee. According to old accounts, one version of the story involves a showman who captured the beast and put it on display as part of a traveling circus freak show. The creature eventually escaped, vanishing into the wilderness, where sightings continued for generations. Described as a large, hairy humanoid similar to Sasquatch, the Tennessee Wildman is said to stand around 7 feet tall, covered in either dark gray or reddish-brown hair. Its most disturbing features are its glowing red eyes and a powerful, unsettling scream that people compare to a war cry. Witnesses also describe a horrible stench, similar to the skunk ape, that clings to the creature and often lingers long after it's gone. While some say it looks more human than ape, its behavior is aggressive and unpredictable. There are even stories suggesting that it and Sasquatch are rivals, fighting over territory. Over the years, hunting parties have gone out searching for the wildman, but these efforts usually turn up empty or end in unsettling experiences. The creature reportedly has an odd pattern of going after dogs and even attempting to carry off women, though none of those attempts seem to have been successful. These details have stuck around as consistent parts of its legend. One of the last major sightings took place over 2 decades ago near Elizabethton, Tennessee. Rob Phillips and his cousin were hiking through the woods near Bee Cliffs during a rainstorm when the forest suddenly fell silent. A loud snap and a chilling scream broke the silence, and the 2 men fled. Phillips ended up hiding behind a tree when he spotted the creature only 15 feet away, clinging to another tree. He described it as stout, about 9 feet tall, with sharp claws, beady red eyes, and a rotting animal smell. Some believe that if the wildman was first seen in the 1800s and is still appearing now, it can't be a single creature. This has led to the idea that there may be more than one of them roaming the hills of Tennessee and possibly parts of Kentucky. Whether it's a type of regional Sasquatch, something else entirely, or just an old folk story that refuses to die, the Tennessee wildman continues to be one of the state's most unsettling cryptids. In the mid-1960s, a boy living in Sherman, New York, claimed that his family was repeatedly visited by 2 massive, white, sloth-like beasts near their swampside property. The story, though only documented in a single letter published by John Keel in the Complete Guide to Mysterious Beings, stands out as one of the strangest cryptid reports on record, especially considering it didn't come from a remote jungle or distant mountain range, but from western New York. The letter was written in 1970 by a 15-year-old who chose to remain anonymous. He described seeing these creatures starting around 1965 or 1966 and continuing into the early 70s. According to him, the creatures stood between 12 and 18 feet tall, had thick white hair covering their bodies, and sported long tails between 6 and 8 feet in length. They were usually seen near the swamp, but once even came into the yard. He claimed the creatures could move on either 2 or 4 legs and strongly resembled prehistoric ground sloths. His entire family had seen them, and he knew of 2 other men who had witnessed them as well. He ended his letter with a firm statement: "I am not kidding, I have seen these things, and they are real." Though there's little evidence beyond this single account, the creatures described match the general look of the extinct Megatherium or Megalonyx, giant ground sloths that once roamed the Americas. In South America, similar sightings are tied to the legend of the Mapinguari, a massive sloth-like beast rumored to live in the Amazon. That legend sometimes includes more fantastical elements, like one eye or backward feet, but many believe it's rooted in ancient memory of real megafauna. If this New York report were accurate, it could point to a small, isolated population of these creatures somehow surviving in secrecy. The white fur might suggest inbreeding or adaptation to a swampy, shaded environment. However, the complete lack of follow-up sightings, physical evidence, or additional witness reports makes it difficult to take the story beyond speculation. Even Keel, who had access to countless paranormal reports, selected this one for his book, suggesting he saw something intriguing in it. Whether it was a hoax, a misidentification, or a genuine encounter with a lost species, the Sherman, New York sloth beasts remain one of the more unusual cryptid cases tied to the northeastern United States. The Beast of Beckley is a creature reported in West Virginia, with a detailed story shared in 2019 by someone named Raven. She described strange events going back to the early 2000s near her childhood home. Her younger brother had the first encounter when he was playing outside one summer evening. He came home terrified, saying he saw something black with yellow eyes, taller than their 6'4" father, grinning at him with sharp teeth. At the time, the family thought it might have been a bear and chalked the rest up to imagination. Years later, Raven had her own encounter. While walking near the woods with a friend, she stayed behind by some trees and suddenly spotted a crouched black figure in the brush. It had 4 glowing yellow eyes staring right at her. When her friend slipped and fell near the creature, its attention returned to Raven. After she pointed it out, they both saw it clearly. She grabbed a branch and stepped forward, but the thing let out a roar that sent them running. The next day, they found trees marked with huge gashes. They kept the story quiet, worried people wouldn't believe them, especially since her brother's sighting was brushed off. But over the years, Raven and her friend saw the creature again several times, usually from a distance. She always felt it was nearby when the weather was warm. Sometimes it even seemed to follow her to other parts of town and even out of state. The last close-up happened in 2011. After coming home late, Raven spotted the figure outside her window. It stood by her dad's truck, taller than the vehicle and completely black except for its glowing eyes. They stared at each other for a few seconds, but it felt much longer. It then took off toward the woods, moving faster than anything she had ever seen. Realizing how close it had been to her when she parked made her feel sick. She told her dad she saw something strange but didn't go into detail. Since moving to a more populated area in 2015, Raven hasn't seen the creature again, but her brothers, who still live at the old house, have reported strange sounds and sightings. One said he saw it again in early 2019, which was unusual for that time of year. Another mentioned hearing loud roars at night. They've also noticed strange lights in the woods. Raven says she's tried researching creatures with glowing yellow eyes, but nothing matches. She shared her story hoping others with similar experiences might come forward. The Bushman is a lesser-known figure among wild hominid legends like Bigfoot, Yeti, and Yowie. Unlike those towering, hairy giants, the Bushman is said to resemble something closer to ancient humans, less beastly, more human-like, and with a surprising level of intelligence and adaptability. Reported across mountainous regions, even reaching as far south as South Carolina, these beings are thought to have survived in isolation by staying hidden and blending into the natural environment. Descriptions suggest a shorter but heavily built creature with strong jaws, elongated skulls, and wide noses. Their skin is pale, their hair dense and textured, and their voices change with the seasons, higher in the warmer months, deeper in the cold. They are known to use natural materials to craft advanced camouflage, often using deer hides and local vegetation, earning them the name Bushmen. Native legends describe them as more peaceful along coastlines, but far more aggressive in cold, rugged terrain. Some say they were once human, cursed by the gods after being cut off from society. These stories speak of a people who know tools, pottery, and language, yet have deliberately chosen to disappear from the modern world. Several explorer accounts hint at close encounters. One man wrote of a figure with sharp eyes who shouted and struck him before vanishing. Another described spotting someone so well camouflaged in a snowy mountain pass that he barely noticed them. The most recent story comes from Greenland, where a dog sledder encountered a figure who screamed and took off with a carcass, showing no signs of fear. Scientifically, there's a theory that the Bushman could be the result of rare interbreeding between Homo erectus, Neanderthals, and early Homo sapiens, creating a hybrid line that developed intelligence, strength, and adaptability, but remained isolated. Their intelligence may have allowed them to live unnoticed, while their isolation kept them from advancing alongside other human groups. Whether they're a relic species, a lost branch of human evolution, or simply folklore born from sightings of strange wanderers, the Bushman legend taps into something deeper, our uncertainty about how alone we really are out in the wild. Their ability to survive in silence and in plain sight is what makes them both fascinating and eerie. Maybe the question isn't whether they exist, but how many times we've already passed them without even knowing. The knot deer is a strange creature said to live in the Appalachian Mountains, with most reports coming out of Tennessee. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary deer, but the longer you look, the more unsettling it becomes. People describe it as having movements that don't quite make sense, like an adult-sized animal moving with the shakiness of a newborn. Its limbs are often said to be too long, sometimes bending in odd directions or having extra joints, and its chest is unusually large and barrel-shaped. The biggest detail that tips people off is the eyes. Unlike normal deer, which have eyes on the sides of their heads, knot deer have eyes facing forward like a predator. Some sightings include extra eyes or strange head shapes, even describing it as vaguely bovine, but those are less common. Knot deer don't act like regular animals either. People say they don't run from humans. Instead, they watch, follow, or walk directly toward whoever sees them. That calm approach, paired with their odd movements, often makes people feel deeply unsettled, like they're being watched by something intelligent. Most encounters don't end in violence, but a few people have reported being chased, especially if they tried to scare the creature away. In some cases, the knot deer reportedly stood on its back legs or tried to reach up at someone who had climbed into a tree. Most of these stories come from online platforms like Reddit, Tumblr, and more recently TikTok. Many take place along quiet mountain roads where someone is driving alone and sees what looks like a deer until it gets closer or steps into the headlights. Some explanations have been suggested. One theory claims these sightings are actually escaped kangaroos. Their upright stance, long limbs, and color might be misidentified at night, especially without their tails clearly visible. Others think the knot deer might be a real deer suffering from deformities or diseases. One possible culprit is chronic wasting disease, which affects deer behavior and movement, making them confused, unafraid of people, and physically unstable. Infected deer can develop tremors, drooling, and other symptoms that might explain the way knot deer are described. Some even suggest glowing or multiple eyes could be caused by lesions that reflect light. Whether it's a diseased animal, a misidentified escapee, or something else entirely, the knot deer stands out because of how deeply uncomfortable it makes people feel, like whatever it is, it shouldn't exist the way it does. White things, also known as white devils or devil dogs, are some of the most chilling creatures said to roam the forests and back roads of West Virginia. These cryptids are often described as having dog-like features, but depending on the story, they've also been compared to humanoids, demons, Bigfoot, and even prehistoric predators. The Sheepsquatch is one of the more famous versions, especially thanks to its appearance on the show Mountain Monsters. Descriptions of white things vary wildly. Locals report seeing creatures that look like wolves, cows, bears, lions, or even oversized badgers. But what ties them all together is their long, shaggy white or dirty white hair, enormous jaws, and sharp teeth. Some of them are so strange they seem to have too many legs or move on 2 legs instead of 4. They're incredibly fast and are known to scream in a way that sounds like a woman crying. These things don't need a reason to attack. Witnesses say they strike suddenly, and while many claim to feel their fangs, they later find no wounds. Animals, however, aren't so lucky. People have found livestock with their throats torn out and bodies drained of blood. No sign of a struggle left behind. In some versions, these beasts are called white devils. They have red glowing eyes, sharp claws, and they walk upright. Unlike most ghostly creatures, these ones aren't afraid of cemeteries. In fact, they're sometimes spotted in or near them, leading many to believe they're death omens. One sighting in July 1973 happened in the infamous TNT area near Point Pleasant, also known for the Mothman sightings. A man recalled riding in a car with his family as a child when a huge, white, hairy creature appeared next to their car. It didn't have wings or a face they could see, but it had a massive head and thick fur. Somehow, it floated next to their car at highway speeds before vanishing. These stories aren't limited to modern folklore. Cherokee legends speak of the white wolf as a warning of magical, untimely death. Over time, that figure changed into a white dog in Appalachian tales. This dog appears healthy but with rough fur and always shows up before someone dies. It might follow someone home, wait silently near their house, or walk along a road. According to the stories, only the person marked for death, and sometimes their loved ones, can see it. No one else will notice a thing. Once it shows up, the person usually dies in a tragic way within a few days. The Wampus Cat, also known as the Wampus Beast or the Cherokee Death Cat, is one of the most bizarre and varied creatures in American folklore. Rooted in both Cherokee mythology and the tall tales of early lumberjacks, its description shifts dramatically depending on the region or storyteller. Sometimes it's a terrifying water panther with glowing eyes, and other times it's a half-cat, half-dog creature with a mischievous streak. In most accounts, though, it's a large cat-like beast that roams the woods. Descriptions range from panther-like predators with yellow eyes that can drive people mad, to weird hybrids walking upright with strange, exaggerated features. In one version from the 1939 book Fearsome Critters, the Wampus Cat is portrayed almost comically, a bipedal feline with tufted ears, a lion's tail, and a bizarre right arm like a folding pruning hook. This version lives in Idaho and has a long list of strange habits, starting forest fires with its glowing eyes, brushing its teeth with stolen picks, and eating eagles, or playing with them depending on its mood. According to the law, it can't be easily killed, and even its footprints are said to appear only in solid rock. Despite these exaggerated accounts, the Wampus Cat is also tied deeply to Cherokee legend. One tale says, a woman spied on her husband's hunting party disguised in a mountain lion's skin. When caught, the tribe's medicine man cursed her to wear the skin forever, turning her into the Wampus Cat. In another story, a woman named Running Deer defeats a magical beast called the Ua with a bobcat mask, and her spirit lives on in the Wampus Cat as a protector. Sightings of the creature have been reported since the early 1800s, with claims of livestock killings, eerie cries in the night, and dark shapes leaping across roads. Willie McQuillian from Mountain Monsters described seeing it on his family farm when he was a child, and again as an adult, always as a black panther-like creature with glowing eyes. He even blamed it for the deaths of several pigs. Another story describes a large black beast leaping in front of a school bus late at night. Whether described as a cursed spirit, a shape-shifting witch, or a lumberjack-era critter with a folding arm and a taste for eagles, the Wampus Cat remains one of the most unpredictable and fascinating creatures in American folklore. It's both protector and predator, prankster and menace, depending entirely on who you ask. The White Bigfoot of Pennsylvania is a strange twist on the classic Sasquatch legend, and it stands out not just because of its white fur, but also due to how often it's been linked to UFO activity. While most Bigfoot sightings tend to happen in the forests of the Pacific Northwest, this particular variant has been spotted in different parts of Pennsylvania, with some of the strangest encounters dating back to the 1970s. The first known sighting of the White Bigfoot was in 1970 near Blakesley. A woman named Annette B. saw a creature standing between 6 and 7 feet tall, with a long neck, a wide chest, and matted white fur. She described its face in detail, noting dark eyes set far apart, white hair covering the lower half of its face, and pinkish skin around the eyes and forehead. The fur on its head was a little longer and hung down like bangs. One of the most bizarre reports came on September 27, 1973, in Beaver County. 2 girls saw an 8-foot-tall creature covered in white fur with glowing red eyes. Even stranger, it was carrying a glowing orb. They ran inside, terrified, and the father of one of the girls searched the woods, but found nothing. That same year, in Uniontown, a glowing object landed near a field, and 2 white Bigfoot-like creatures were seen at the same time. A woman fired a shotgun at one of them, which vanished instantly. A glowing light hovered over the woods nearby not long after. Years later, in 2008, a video surfaced from Carbondale, a city known for its coal mining past. Locals had been reporting sightings of a white Bigfoot for some time. One witness captured a short clip of a tall white figure moving through the woods near a mine reclamation area. The creature's size, body proportions, and face caught the attention of internet viewers. It appeared to have a tall, sloped forehead, heavy brow ridge, and long arms. As it turned its head and ran, the facial movement looked more like real skin than a mask. In 2010, reports of a juvenile white Bigfoot started coming out of the same region. People living near the woods began hearing strange sounds and noticing disturbances around their property. Some said the creature was smaller than earlier reports, but still clearly not a regular animal. One explanation for the white fur is that it could be an older Sasquatch, with its fur turning lighter with age, similar to how humans go gray. Others think it could be a unique regional variation or a rare albino Bigfoot. The frequent mention of glowing orbs and UFO activity in these sightings makes it stand apart from most other Sasquatch reports, and that connection has kept it at the center of speculation for years. The Goatman is a well-known cryptid in Maryland folklore, particularly associated with the area of Prince George's County. This creature has become a staple of local legend, with various sightings and tales that have evolved over the decades. The Goatman legend reportedly began gaining traction in the early 1970s, although some stories trace back to the late 1930s. Initial accounts describe the creature in connection with mysterious disappearances and deaths of local dogs, which residents attributed to the Goatman. However, investigations suggested that these deaths might have been caused by passing trains rather than a predatory cryptid. Despite the lack of evidence, the legend persisted, particularly among students and locals, often manifested in graffiti declaring, "Goatman was here." Witness accounts of the Goatman vary significantly, with common descriptions portraying it as having a human face but a body covered in hair. Some interpretations liken it to a hairy humanoid, while others suggest a more mythological appearance, resembling a faun from Greek lore, with the upper body of a human and the lower body of a goat. The creature was often rumored to inhabit makeshift shelters in the wooded areas of northeastern Prince George's County, particularly near abandoned trailer parks. The Goatman gained further prominence in 1971, particularly after a report by journalist Karen Hosler in the Prince George's County News. This report detailed the Goatman's supposed location near Fletchertown Road in Bowie, Maryland, while also exploring the theory that the creature originated from experiments at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. These tales captured the imagination of the local community, leading to numerous reported sightings, many of which turned out to be pranks or exaggerations. Several variations of the Goatman legend have emerged over the years. One popular version posits that the Goatman was once Dr. Stephen Fletcher, a scientist at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. According to this story, an experiment involving goats went awry, mutating him into a half-man, half-goat creature that began terrorizing the area, particularly attacking cars near Beltsville. Another variation presents the Goatman as an old hermit who roamed the woods at night, often seen walking along Fletchertown Road. Folklorist Barry Pearson of the University of Maryland has noted that the Goatman legend is deeply rooted in local culture, suggesting that it has been perpetuated by bored teenagers sharing stories and spreading rumors about the creature attacking couples at local lovers' lanes. This storytelling has fueled interest in specific locations, notably Fletchertown Road, where many sightings have reportedly occurred. The Sheepsquatch, also called the White Thing, is a strange creature said to roam the forests of southwestern West Virginia, especially in Boone, Kanawha, Putnam, and Mason counties. Most sightings happened in the 1990s, especially in Boone County, where people reported multiple encounters with this woolly-haired beast. It's described as being about the size of a bear and covered in thick, white fur. Its head is long and pointed like a dog's, but with saber-like teeth and horns similar to those of a young goat. Its front limbs end in large, raccoon-like paws, and it has a long, hairless tail like an opossum. Many reports say the creature gives off a strong, sulfuric smell. Some believe this scent might come from a scent gland, similar to a skunk's, while others tie it to strange stories about the creature's origin in the TNT area, like the Mothman legends. One of the first known sightings happened in 1994, when a former Navy seaman spotted it by a creek. The creature knelt to drink before crossing the water and vanishing into the trees. Later that year, 2 kids in Boone County saw something like a white bear that stood up on its hind legs, towering over 6 feet. It ran into the woods, breaking tree limbs along the way. In 1995, a couple saw the Sheepsquatch sitting in a roadside ditch. They stopped to get a better look, only for the creature to suddenly lunge at their car. They described it as having 4 eyes, a detail not found in earlier reports. When they got home, they found large scratch marks along the side of their vehicle. In 1999, another group of campers heard something heavy moving around their campsite. Then, without warning, the Sheepsquatch charged from the dark. The campers ran to safety, and the creature stopped at the forest's edge and let out a loud scream before retreating. The next morning, they found the area around their fire pit torn up like someone had been digging. The last major report came in 2015, this time in Falks Run, Virginia. 6 campers saw a large creature crouched on a hill late at night. When it stood up, it appeared 8 to 9 feet tall. It began running down the hill, but was stopped by a river. It waded through the water and came out soaked, its shape now clearly visible, wide-shouldered like a bipedal dog. Then a loud scream echoed from somewhere nearby. The Sheepsquatch froze, whimpered, and bolted in the opposite direction. The campers packed up and left immediately. They told locals about what they saw, but chose not to go to the police, worried they wouldn't be taken seriously. Though sightings are rare, the Sheepsquatch has earned a place in West Virginia folklore, standing out with its strange blend of animal traits and unsettling behavior. Nungunui, meaning stone dress in Cherokee, is a mysterious creature said to dwell in the regions of Tennessee and western North Carolina. It's often tied to ancient legends and more recent sightings that suggest something unusual still moves through the dark forests and caves of the Appalachian region. One such modern account comes from 2009, when a woman named Leslie reported seeing a strange creature in a cave in Cumberland County, Tennessee. According to Leslie, the creature was about 4 feet long, with white, human-like skin on its face, but covered in brown fur across its body. It had short legs, heavy paws with flattened claws, and could cling to cave walls, freezing in place. She described it as resembling a smaller version of Bigfoot and suggested it might be a cousin species. She also noted that its paws had 3 toes, a detail that stirred discussion about possible sloth ancestry. Leslie is a member of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians and played a key role in returning the Bat Creek stone to the Museum of the Cherokee Indian, further grounding her report in regional and cultural context. Some have proposed that this creature could be a surviving species of ground sloth. Ancient relatives of modern sloths once lived across North America, including the Magellanics, which roamed during the Pleistocene. These creatures had features similar to the 2009 cave sighting, especially the 3-toed clawed limbs. One extinct type, the Harlan's ground sloth, even had bony armor beneath its skin called osteoderms, which could explain legends of tough, stone-like skin. In Cherokee tradition, the creature is linked to a being known as Spearfinger or Utlunta. This legend tells of a powerful entity with sharp claws and stone-like skin. Sometimes, Spearfinger is also called Nungyunuai, or stone dress. She's said to haunt the mountainous regions between Tennessee and North Carolina, including places like the Tunnel to Nowhere in Bryson City. In stories, she uses her clawed hands to snatch and devour livers from her victims, often disguising herself as an elderly woman. Her near invincibility came from the stone armor hidden beneath her skin, an eerie parallel to the osteoderms in ground sloth fossils. Spearfinger has gained attention beyond folklore as well, becoming the focus of Season 6 of Mountain Monsters and appearing in other media, including the So Joanna book and the film Artichoke. Both link her to real-world places like the Bat Creek Stone and the mysterious Tunnel to Nowhere. Whether the cave creature Leslie saw is a living remnant of prehistoric wildlife or something more supernatural is unclear. But the blending of ancient fossils, tribal stories, and modern sightings continues to fuel the mystery of what might still be lurking in the caves and woods of Appalachia. The grassman, also known as the Ohio grassman, Kenmore grassman, or orange eyes, is a large bipedal creature reported mainly in Ohio. Similar in appearance to Bigfoot, it's described as much more aggressive than other Sasquatch-like creatures. Its name comes from the nests or shelters it's said to build out of tall grass, giving it a distinct behavior not often linked to other cryptids. One of the most well-known encounters took place in Minerva, Ohio, in August 1978. Evelyn and Hal Clayton's grandchildren came running inside after seeing a large, hairy creature in a nearby gravel pit. When the Claytons went out to look, they saw the same thing, a dark, matted creature weighing around 300 pounds, rummaging through trash. In the weeks that followed, they reported multiple sightings, including one where the creature was seen watching them through their kitchen window. Though police found no solid evidence, they did note faint footprints and a terrible lingering smell. Later, the couple also claimed to see 2 of the creatures on a nearby hill. It wasn't until afterward that they remembered their dog had been found dead days before the first sighting, its neck broken. But stories of the grassman go further back. In the 1700s, Native Americans in the Ohio region told of bipedal wild ones of the woods and would leave food out to avoid trouble. In the late 1800s, a similar creature was reported attacking a man by the Ohio River, only to retreat when the man's daughter fought it off with rocks. The grassman is usually described as being 6 to 7 feet tall, though some reports go as high as 10 feet. It weighs between 300 and 1,000 pounds and leaves behind large footprints, some as long as 20 inches, along with strange handprints. Witnesses say it has a strong odor like rot that sticks around even after it leaves. Its appearance is usually described as dark-colored with long arms, wide shoulders, no neck, and eyes that glow red or orange. Some say its hair is smooth, while others describe it as shaggy and covering most of its body except the hands. It's known for being powerful and violent, capable of breaking tree limbs and throwing large rocks. There have been cases of pets, particularly dogs, being killed, and some deer found with their legs twisted off and only the liver taken. Despite its aggressive reputation, Native American accounts suggest it can act peacefully if it sees a reason to. There are even claims of groups of grassmen seen together, sometimes as many as 5. They've been observed living in caves or dome-like shelters and even tipi-shaped structures made from natural materials. Some reports mention mothers with babies, droppings left in unusual spots like on trees, and hair samples up to 16 inches long that scientists at Ohio State University couldn't identify. Based on how different some sightings are, it's possible that the grassman isn't a single creature, but one of several unknown species living in the area. The Flatwoods Monster is a notable figure in West Virginia folklore, associated with a series of sightings in 1952. The incident began when a bright light streaked across the sky, leading to a widely reported encounter that remains a point of intrigue. On September 12, 1952, at approximately 7:15 p.m., 2 brothers, Edward and Fred May, along with their friend Tommy Heyer, witnessed a bright object that appeared to crash land on the property of farmer G. Bailey Fisher. Excited by their sighting, the boys went to find Kathleen May, who accompanied them along with local children Neil Nunley and Ronnie Shaver, and National Guardsman Eugene Lemon, to investigate. When they reached the top of a nearby hill, they reported seeing a pulsating red light. Lemon, shining his flashlight in that direction, claimed to have seen a tall, humanoid figure with a round red face and a pointed, hood-like shape. Descriptions of the figure varied, with some accounts suggesting it stood about 10 feet tall and had glowing eye-like shapes that emitted greenish-orange light. The figure allegedly made a hissing sound and moved toward the group, prompting Lemon to scream and drop his flashlight, causing the group to flee in terror. Witnesses also reported a pungent mist and feelings of nausea following the encounter. When local authorities investigated reports of a crashed aircraft in the area, they found no evidence of a creature or crash site, although some reports mentioned skid marks and a strange, gummy substance found the following day. The incident garnered significant media coverage, with national press outlets picking up the story and UFO enthusiasts descending upon Flatwoods to investigate. Reports spread quickly, leading to widespread interest in the supposed monster. UFO writers like Gray Barker and Ivan T. Sanderson arrived to look into the matter, further fueling the frenzy. In the years following the sightings, skeptics have offered various explanations. In 2000, investigator Joe Nickel concluded that the bright light was likely a meteor, while the pulsating red light could have been from an aircraft navigation or hazard beacon. He suggested that the creature witnesses described closely resembled a barn owl, which could have been startled and perched on a tree. The perception of the creature's humanoid features may have been distorted by the witness's anxiety and the surrounding foliage, which could create illusions of the lower body. Nickel noted that several flashing red aircraft beacons were visible in the area, which may have contributed to the sightings. He argued that the witness's descriptions of the creature's silhouette and movements closely matched the behavior of a startled barn owl, particularly when its talons were gripping a branch, leading to confusion about its physical form. Skeptic Ryan Haupt further emphasized that some of the supposed evidence, like tracks and residue, was likely the result of a local boy's truck, and that nausea experienced by witnesses could be attributed to hysteria and overexertion rather than an encounter with an extraterrestrial being. Reports of devil monkeys have started to surface near Flagstaff, Arizona, particularly in the forests around Mount Eldon. One eyewitness said her dog became visibly scared while they were hiking, moments before she saw several strange, fast-moving creatures darting through the rocks. She described them as primitive, agile, and about 4 to 5 feet tall. Similar creatures have been seen in New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, and other parts of the U.S., where they're also known by the same name. These creatures are usually described as being 3 to 4 feet tall, though some witnesses claim they've seen much larger versions, up to 7 feet tall. Those bigger accounts likely refer to something closer to a typical hairy humanoid rather than the smaller, more monkey-like devil monkey. They don't look like the usual gorilla-style Bigfoot. Instead, they're said to have a shaggy, dog-like face, strong legs like a kangaroo, and a bushy tail. Many accounts mention 3-toed, clawed feet, pointed ears, and glowing eyes. Their appearance is sometimes compared to cryptids like the Chupacabra or the Rougarou. The earliest reported sighting goes back to 1934 in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, where locals described a creature that could leap across fields at lightning speed. Some said it could jump over 20 feet in a single bound, which led people to think it might be mistaken for a kangaroo. The first more detailed encounter happened in 1959, near Saltville, Virginia. A couple driving through the mountains said an ape-like creature attacked their car, leaving scratches. Their daughter described the beast as having light, taffy-colored hair, a white streak down its body, and strong back legs. Not long after, 2 nurses reported a similar creature ripping the top off their convertible. In 1969, John Green, a well-known mystery primate researcher, looked into sightings near Mamquam, British Columbia, where a long-tailed creature had been spotted, leaving behind unusual 3-toed tracks. Then, in 1973, Lauren Coleman investigated reports in Albany, Kentucky, where 3 black, bushy-tailed monkeys were blamed for killing livestock. He noted that these creatures didn't match typical Bigfoot descriptions. More sightings came out of Georgia in 1979, with one witness calling it the ugliest thing she'd ever seen and describing its dog-like face and large tail. One of the more disturbing encounters was reported in Chicago in 2006. A man claimed a strange creature attacked his Labrador inside his house. He described it as part monkey, part wolf, with fangs and glowing eyes. He said he took a photo before it ran out the door on its hind legs. The image, however, has been dismissed by some as likely showing a regular dog. The supposed attacker even appeared to be wearing a collar, and the dog didn't seem hurt. Still, some believe the creature might be connected to the Derrida roadkill photos from 1996, which showed the carcass of a baboon-like animal with dog features on a Louisiana roadside. Although many of these sightings are scattered and vary in detail, enough similarities in size, shape, and behavior have been noted to keep the devil monkey legend alive across the U.S. West Virginia is no stranger to strange events, from the appearance of the Flatwoods Monster to the mysterious Indrid Cold. But one of the most unforgettable events began in the fall of 1966, when a winged creature known as the Mothman appeared in the quiet town of Point Pleasant. Unlike most cryptid sightings, this one sparked over a year of reports and fear, cementing Mothman's place in cryptid history. The first sighting happened on November 12, 1966, when 5 men in a cemetery near Clendenin saw something lift off from the trees. It looked human-shaped, but with wings, not like any bird they knew. Just a few days later, the most famous encounter took place near the old West Virginia Ordnance Works, also known as the TNT area. On November 15th, Roger and Linda Scarborough and their friends, Steve and Mary Millette, were driving near the TNT area when they saw 2 glowing red eyes beside an abandoned building. They described a 7-foot-tall creature with folded wings and a human-like form. It took off and chased their car, keeping up with them even as they sped past 100 miles per hour down Highway 62. After gathering themselves in town, the group returned to the area and saw the creature again. This time, it shot into the air and disappeared. The next morning, Linda was hospitalized after suffering a breakdown from the experience. The story hit local newspapers with the headline, "Couple sees man-sized bird, creature, something." After that, sightings exploded. Dozens of people reported similar experiences over the next 13 months. Many claimed the creature followed them, chased cars, or simply stared at them with glowing eyes. Some even reported being visited by strange men in black suits afterward, warning them to stay silent. Everything seemed to build up to the tragic collapse of the Silver Bridge on December 15, 1967, which killed 46 people. Some believed Mothman had come as a warning. Descriptions of Mothman vary slightly, but most agree he's a large winged humanoid, about 7 feet tall, with a wingspan of 10 to 15 feet. His most striking feature is his glowing red eyes, which are often described as being in his chest due to his lack of a visible neck or head. Witnesses say he can shoot straight into the air like a helicopter, often flying faster than any bird should be able to. His wings are rarely seen flapping, just unfolding and lifting him straight up. He's also said to walk awkwardly, almost like a penguin, and those who've seen him up close often report intense fear or even long-lasting trauma. Some believe Mothman is not a cryptid at all, but something paranormal, maybe an omen of disaster, an angel, or a curse. There are reports of similar creatures appearing before other tragedies, like the Chernobyl meltdown or the collapse of a mine in Germany. Others think he could be tied to Shawnee folklore, with legends like Missinwa and Waupi resembling the creature. Some researchers have tried to explain the sightings as misidentified owls, herons, or even cranes. Wildlife experts suggested a sandhill crane might be the cause, while skeptics lean toward owl sightings distorted by fear or confusion. There's even been speculation that Mothman might be a relic species like a pterosaur, though that's mostly considered fantasy. Despite the lack of solid evidence, the legend has become a huge part of local culture. Since 2002, Point Pleasant has hosted the Mothman Festival every September, drawing visitors from all over the world. The town also features a Mothman museum and a metal statue of the creature, making it a hotspot for fans of strange sightings and mysterious events. And there you have it. If you enjoy our content, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. Thank you, and safe travels, my dear friends.